Once you've done that, it's time to write your story. Even if I'm not using PowerPoint, I'll often put my thoughts into PowerPoint and use the slide sorter function under the view panel. This allows you to look at your storyboard just like this and really look at the flow and the message of the story you're telling. Because nowadays it's not just about information sharing, it's about storytelling. And the clearer your story is and the more it flows and your ideas fit together, the more engaging it will be for your audience and the clearer your message will land. Communicate. Practice makes sense. Practice does not make perfect, especially if you're practicing the wrong thing. To me, public speaking is never going to be an art of perfection. It's about progress and not perfection. No matter what, practice makes sense. And apparently Steve Jobs from Apple, he's becoming a world-renowned presenter. He spends very little time at the computer, and he practices apparently for days on end before he launches his products to the world. Sometimes he shocks them. Practice makes sense. The more you know the stuff, the more comfortable you're going to be in delivering it, the more engaging you'll be with your audience. Practice makes sense. Enthusiasm. This is one of my favorite posters. It says, "You're at a 10 right now. We're going to need you at about a 7. Really though, by enthusiasm I mean taking those jitters, which we're all going to have, they're normal. Acknowledge them and take them in, but translate them into enthusiasm. And especially if you've practiced and you know your stuff, just take those nerves and run with it. Get up there and do your thing on stage. Enthusiasm really gets people pumped, and especially if it's in the afternoon and people have just eaten, they're going to need your energy and enthusiasm to create the space for them to also have a good time. One of my personal tips that I learned from being a relatively small person, often in a big room. This would allow me to feel very small at times. So what I would do to appear more confident and to own the room a little bit more is I would just talk louder. So even now, if I'm talking to you at a level about like this, I sound more quiet and reserved. And I can say the exact same thing a little bit louder, and all of a sudden you're paying more attention to me. When I first started doing that though, I almost shocked people because they weren't expecting me to be that loud, and it was almost like students with the teacher who would kind of just sit up straight all of a sudden and say, "Yes, we're listening." Just speak louder. Not only does it help you feel more confident, you sound more confident. One of my favorite tricks. I'm not sure who suggested that to be a good speaker, you need to destroy your notes. To me, that hasn't made any sense, and when I've tried it, it's been really tricky, especially in those moments where I lose my thought. If you lose your thought, have your notes nearby. Simply walk to them without saying anything. Take a look. Catch your thought. Walk back and begin talking. If you don't have notes with you, walk somewhere where your water is, take a sip, and come back. Or just pause. We've become so uncomfortable with silence in our world that the thought of pausing and taking even 3 seconds break in your speech doesn't make sense, but that's wrong, it does. Not only does it allow you to collect your thoughts, especially if you've lost them, it also makes the audience pay attention to what you're saying and builds a little bit of anticipation. In addition to that, as a speaker, you're telling your audience, I want to be clear in what I communicate to you. And to me, that shows care. So when all else fails, and you're starting to feel that nervousness or panic, just pause, take a break. It's okay. Connect. So how do we really connect and engage with our audience? We've touched on a few things. First and foremost, be yourself. As Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. everyone else is taken. And if you're looking to gain confidence, nobody in the world is better equipped to be you than you are, and no one is better qualified. So find your signature presence. Find what makes you you, and step into that. Particularly if you're passionate about what you're talking about, let people know. The more reserved we try to be and the more like others we try to be, the less engaging we'll be with our audience, because they smell insincerity. Be bold. If you're talking about something that's exciting or different, be bold. I remember being in one presentation where he was talking about being afraid standing at the top of the pyramids in Mexico. And this guy jumped right up on the table in front of all of us, and he was quite tall, almost 6 feet tall. Wow. I certainly could feel the height and the fear he was talking about and how boldly he delivered that message. And how memorable. I still have that person in my mind, and I'm telling all of you about it. So it's okay to be bold, and when you're talking about something surprising, be surprising. If you're talking about ripping up notes, rip up notes. Have a piece of paper, tear it apart, throw it around the room. The more bold you are, the more engaging you can be, and the emphasis of your message will stick. Be present. I don't have the person in mind who said this, but he said it quite nicely. Be here now. Be somewhere else later. Is it really that complicated? Whatever you need to do to be present and be in that moment, in that room, do it. Because the more engaged you are in that moment, the more your audience will be engaged with you. So be present. Yesterday was yesterday, tomorrow's not yet here, so be in the now. If you want to know how engaging you are, ask for feedback. Whether it's a feedback form at your speaking engagement, which you'll find at the back of your clipboard today, by the way, ask for feedback about how you're doing. Whatever key points you want to work on as a speaker, ask your audience. One of the best programs out there to hone your public speaking skills is Toastmasters International. I've been a Toastmasters for 3 years, and what it is a safe environment where you can practice your public speaking. You get a book to practice all of the different kinds, body language, vocal variety, organizing your speech, being persuasive. And after every speech, you get evaluated by your club. And it's all about constructive feedback. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. Ask them how you're coming across. Ask them where you can improve. There are lots of things you can do just sitting around with family and friends when you're talking about your stories or talking about your business. Ask what they think. And if you'd really like to hone in on your skills, particularly when it's around confidence, I suggest hiring a coach, either a personal or business coach, because they're really going to help you tackle those barriers that get in the way of you being the speaker you want to be. So ask for feedback. It's the best thing you can do to really better your skills and see how you're landing your message. Really, there are 3 key things that I want to leave you with. The first, keep it simple, sweetheart. Don't confuse your audience. Funnel your message down. Get up onto that stage and tell them what you gotta say in a simple, simple way. Be you. The more you can bring to the table, the more comfortable you're going to be in communicating your message. And the more natural it'll feel. Just imagine how many times you sit with friends and family and tell them a story or tell them something about your life, personal or business. You can get that sense of comfort in front of a crowd of complete strangers the more you be yourself and the more you're prepared to say what you want to say. Last but not least, think pink. Nowadays, to be successful and to really engage and connect with people, we need the left brain logic and the right brain emotion. We need the thoughts, facts, and we need the feeling. So think pink. The next time you're getting ready to engage with your audience, whether it's a large crowd, a small crowd, whether you're using PowerPoint or not, think about these 3 things. Keep it simple, be yourself, think pink, and I am sure you will see improvements in how effective and engaging you are with your audience. I know you can do it.